Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Should you buy a house or should you rent one in 2025? It's not an easy choice. But today I'm going to help you in figuring out that question. With rising rent, fluctuating interest rate, and an unpredictable housing market, it's not an easy choice at all. Today I'm going to be breaking down the most common myth and truth about renting versus buying in 2025. Myth number 1: renting is always cheaper than buying. That may be true in most situations, but it largely depends on a few factors like where do you live, what are your goals, and how do you plan your financial future. For example, in a certain neighborhood, renting might be cheaper than buying, but in the long run, that might not be a very smart decision. So, my first step is to compare mortgage, insurance, taxes, and maintenance, and then I compare it with the rent that you are paying, and then look at a appreciation of 3% to 5% per year, and look at over a 10-year margin. So your mortgage, your maintenance, your taxes, compare with your rent with a 3% appreciation per year, and look at over a 10-year margin, and then decide which is a smarter move to go. Myth number 2: buying a home is always a good investment. That may be true in theory, but in practical you need to look at multiple factors before deciding that. If your mortgage, your maintenance, and your insurance takes up the majority of your salary or whatever you owe, then that's not a smart choice. If ideally the total cost of your living should not be more than 30% of what you make per month. So if it's going to cost you less than 30% to rent a house as compared to paying for mortgage, insurance, and maintenance, and that exceeds 30% significantly, then renting might be a smarter choice. So always research local market, look at trends, and then make a decision, because an informed decision is the most crucial thing that you can do for a financially secure future. Myth number 3: renting means throwing money. So a lot of YouTube gurus and people recommend that you should always invest in real estate, buy your own house, don't pay rent, rent should never be your priority. But that is not always convenient or true for most of the people. Many people like me, or people who are just out of college, people who are just starting their career, might not have enough money to put in a down payment. So for those people who do not have enough to put in a down payment and who would prefer flexibility, they are not sure they're going to stay at the same place for long, renting is a smarter choice, because this gives them flexibility and convenience which might not be available for those who are buying a house. Myth number 5: interest rates will remain high throughout your life. That's not true at all. Currently interest rates are high, but in the future they might go down, so you can always refinance it and work with your bank. So it's not something fixed, it can be changed depending on the market and other factors that may influence the financial market or the housing market. There's a chance that your interest rate might even go down. Majority of times they do not change, but there's a possibility that they might, because when you finance a house, you finance it for a very long term, sometimes 1, 2, 3 decades. So in that time interest rate may go down. Myth number 6: renting means no financial benefit. That's not always true. When you rent, you also avoid other costs that might come with buying a house. For someone who is just starting off, the difference between saving that amount that might have been spent on different forms of insurance or maintenance or house repairs or building the house itself, because these are very expensive purchases. For someone who's just starting out, these could be important savings, or they can invest somewhere else. Many times an investment that you would put in a house, people might have a medical emergency or have any unexpected expense that they might have to pay, and if they have put all their savings in a down payment, they might not have the flexibility to use it elsewhere, and that could lead into a spiral of debt. It's very important to always outweigh the benefit. You compare the pros with the cons and then decide, is it a smart choice to get a house or not. Myth number 7: buying locks you in one place forever. So that is not always true. While owning a house is a long-term commitment, it's not necessarily going to keep you stuck. You can always sell or rent that property. Many people do that. They finance a house, and if they have to move, they rent that property out. So that is always a possibility. But being mindful of your choices and thinking things out is very important. Myth number 8: the housing market will crash just like in 2008. While housing prices may slow or adjust, but experts predict it will be a soft landing. A crash as severe as 2008, although possible, but it's going to be unlikely. But even if it happens, in the long run, it will yield benefits in equity. So if you buy a house and let's say there's a 2008 like crash, in the long run it will bounce back and your house will be the same value in 10 to 20 years. So if your goal is to get a house to settle down with your family, then in the long run it will be a smart financial move if you are willing to wait. Myth number 9: renting doesn't require financial planning. Although your planning for renting a house will be less as compared to that of owning a house, but you still need to account for emergencies, transport, other costs, utilities. This is important because if your renting exceeds 30% of your income, you won't be able to save enough. You might not even be able to afford normal things in life. So always remember, you need to calculate before deciding. Anything involving your finances requires careful calculation. You need to sit down, you need to budget everything out, and it's a personal advice. Your rent should not exceed 30% of your income. Myth number 10: owning a house is always good for families. That might not be always true. For example, while owning a house gives you stability, renting might give you flexibility. For any reason, if you need to move, the flexibility that comes with renting is always smarter. And for new families, it's advisable to use their time to build a wealth and to have a bigger down payment. Although you can keep a down payment of even 10% at time. But if you have significant savings and you put in a bigger down payment, let's say 30%, that will save your monthly mortgage payments. So it's smarter to first build wealth by renting your house if you have a family, and then looking at the prospect of owning one. As we come to the end of this video, this decision remains: should I buy a house or should I rent one? I can't answer this question for you because every person has a different lifestyle. Some people prefer the flexibility that comes with renting, and others prefer the security that comes with owning a house. Decision depends on your lifestyle, your expenses, and your goals. If your goal aligns with buying, then you should definitely go for buying a house. If your goal aligns with renting a place, then you should rent a house. At the end of the day, no side fits all. So you have to look into what you prefer and how would you prefer your future to look like. And if you have been watching till the end, thank you so much. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment if you have any question or suggestion. Thank you so much. Bye bye.